Welcome to Everything Creepy. Turn off the lights, cuddle up tight, and enjoy the story. I never used to believe people when they said they felt like they were being watched, not in the literal, supernatural sense. I always thought it was just nerves or imagination. But that changed last year when I took a late night study shift in the lower level of the Prescott University Library. I'm telling this now not because I want attention or because I want anyone to believe me. I honestly don't care if you do. But I haven't been the same since it happened, and maybe talking about it, writing it down, will get some of it out of my head. Prescott is one of those old East Coast universities built sometime in the 1800s. The library is even older than most of the campus. Originally a seminary building before it was repurposed. Creaky floors, lidded windows, floor-to-ceiling stacks. It has a weird layout, 3 floors above ground, 1 below. Most students avoid the basement. It's dark, it's weirdly cold, and the fluorescent lights flicker even when they're not supposed to. I had a final due the next day. I'd put it off stupidly, and I needed somewhere quiet. My dorm was a circus, the campus coffee shop was packed. And all the upper levels of the library were crawling with late-night crammers. So I went to the basement. It was nearly midnight. The university kept the library open until 2 a.m. during finals week. I figured I'd have a couple hours of solid focus and maybe even finish the paper before closing. There was only one other person signed in downstairs when I swiped my ID, a guy named Robert L. According to the sign-in terminal. I didn't think anything of it. I was just relieved it wasn't packed. The basement has this awful yellow lighting that buzzes faintly. There's a study table near the microfiche machines that's usually empty, and I set up there. I pulled out my laptop, plugged in, opened my Google Doc. I put on headphones, low volume, just enough to muffle the hum. About an hour passed. The library was dead silent. I'd hit a groove with my writing, which is rare for me, and barely noticed how still everything was. But then, just at the edge of my vision, I saw something shift between the shelves across from me. A figure. It wasn't close, maybe 20 feet away, partially obscured by the books, but it was definitely someone. At first, I assumed it was Robert, maybe grabbing a book. But what was weird was how still they were. Not browsing, not walking. Just standing there, watching. I took off my headphones and waited a beat, thinking maybe they'd speak or move. They didn't. "Hey," I said, voice low. "Sorry, did you need this table?" No response. I cleared my throat, louder. "Hey, you okay?" Still nothing. But then, just as I stood to get a better look, they turned and walked off, deeper into the shelves. I only saw the back, tall, wearing a dark coat. That's it. I sat back down, heart doing this weird half stumble. Not quite fear, not yet, just unease. It was probably just Robert. Maybe he didn't hear me. Maybe he's just awkward. God knows I am. But the feeling didn't leave. I tried to write again, but I couldn't stop glancing at the shelves, listening. I even took out my AirPods just in case. And I noticed something else then. There weren't any page-turning sounds, no keyboard tapping, no movement, just that low fluorescent buzz. I packed up my things slowly, deciding maybe I'd finish my paper upstairs after all. As I stood and reached for my backpack, I heard a soft sound like breathing. It came from the other side of the shelf directly behind me. Very slow, very close. I froze. Every hair on my body lifted. I didn't turn around right away. I just stood there, my brain doing that panic math of fight or flight. My rational side screamed, "It's just another student." But something deeper, more primal, told me not to look. The breathing got a little louder. I spun and stepped back at the same time. No one was there. Just shelves, books, empty carpet. And I swear to this, there was a faint imprint in the dust on the floor, like someone had stood there. A scuffed boot mark, half of it, like they'd moved quickly. I grabbed my stuff and walked, not ran, toward the elevator. Running would have meant panic, and I didn't want to give this invisible watcher the satisfaction. The elevator is ancient, slow, and makes this god-awful screeching noise when it descends. I pressed the button and stood there, looking over my shoulder every few seconds. That's when the lights in the hallway flickered. Once, twice, then they went out. All of them. Total darkness. My heart climbed into my throat. The elevator dinged. Doors sliding open with that mechanical groan, and I practically dove inside. As the doors shut, I looked back. For a split second, illuminated by the dying glow of the emergency exit sign, I saw someone standing at the end of the hall. Watching me, face obscured in shadow. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I asked the front desk if Robert L. had been signed in. The girl behind the desk typed on her terminal, then frowned. "There's no Robert listed from last night," she said. "Only you." I tried to laugh it off. Maybe he signed in wrong. Maybe he snuck in. But she shook her head. "We keep camera records. No one entered the lower level last night but you." I went back to the basement in the daylight, with people. I walked the shelves, tried to find any explanation, an open window, a broken vent, a mirror, nothing. But the boot print was still there, and that wasn't the last time I saw him. A week later, I was back on campus late, walking past the library on my way to the student center. I glanced up, habit, and saw someone in the window of the basement floor. Looking down at me, he wasn't moving, just watching. I couldn't make out the face, but I didn't need to. After that, I avoided the library completely. I studied in cafes, in the student union, even in my car. I'd walk out of my way just to not pass the building. But he wasn't confined to the library. I started catching glimpses, reflections in windows that didn't match mine, a figure behind me in glass doors, a shadow crossing the hallway outside my dorm room at night. Always watching, never speaking. Then came the dreams. I'd be back in that basement, alone, sitting at that desk. The lights would flicker, go out, breathing behind me. But this time, I wouldn't wake up when I turned around. I'd see him. His face wasn't monstrous. That's what made it worse. It was blank, not featureless. Just blank, emotionless, like he was studying me the way I'd studied for finals that night. I transferred at the end of the semester, told my advisor I needed a change of pace, a fresh start, moved 3 states away. It helped for a while. But just last week, I went to check out a book at my new university's library. As I was checking out, the librarian handed me the slip of paper with my return date and paused. "There's a note here," she said, confused. "I didn't write it." She turned the slip toward me. Scrawled in shaky, ink-blotched handwriting were the words, "Nice to see you again." I don't know what he is. I don't know why he picked me. Maybe I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if you ever find yourself in the Prescott Library basement and you feel like someone's watching you from between the shelves, don't ignore it. Don't pretend it's nothing. He's patient, and he remembers faces. If this gave you chills, hit subscribe for more stories that blur the line between reality and the impossible. And remember, just because it sounds unbelievable doesn't mean it isn't true.